Hello and welcome to CSCE 492. This is the second semester of the capstone project. So here I want to just quickly go over what we're going to do this semester. So our website, as you know, capstone.csc.sc.edu, everything is already posted there that is due this year. So all the milestones are already posted. The first thing is there's a few people that are taking 492 this semester that did not take 490 last semester. So if you're one of those people, just email me your GitHub username like right now. Just go out and send it to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these people and assign them to teams. I'm going to first assign them to any team that has 3 or fewer students. 3 or fewer. So that basically we can get all the teams to 4 people. Hopefully the numbers will work out so we can do that. And after that, I'll just randomly assign them to the 4 people teams. So do that. Similarly, if you are not enrolled in 492, but you plan to be, also email me like right away. Otherwise, I will be dropping you from your repo, from your team repo. So I'm going to be doing all this during the first week of classes. So hopefully by the end of that, the first week, everybody will have a team and the teams will be set for the semester. So what are we doing this semester? If you remember, last semester you ended up with a proof of concept app, something that worked, and but didn't do much. So this semester we're going to take that proof of concept app and turn it into a fully featured, polished, bug-free, good-looking app. Professional quality app that has all the bells and whistles. It just works great. We're going to split this up into a bunch of milestones. So the milestones, so if you see in the website, I have already posted the deadlines for this semester. So I say the first day here, you have to email me your GitHub username if you're new to the class, if you don't already have a team. So the first milestone for this semester is going to be the testing milestone there. You can see that over here, milestone testing. So what is this? Basically, you're gonna write some automated tests for your app. So this is code. You're writing code that tests your code, your app code. So your test code is gonna test your app code. So just quickly go over this. There's sort of 2 ends of the spectrum when it comes to automated tests. One end you have the unit tests, which you saw in like 146, 247, 240. So this is when you write code that actually calls functions or methods in your app code, right? So your test code will call an actual method in your app code and then, test to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. So you're going to have some unit tests that we're going to be looking for. At the other end of the spectrum, we have what goes by many names like behavioral testing, UI testing, instrumental tests. All kinds of names for this, but it's a simple idea that you run the app and then you write another test program that pretends to be the user using your app and just goes and, say you have a web app, you run the web app and your test code is the user running the browser and goes, tries to log in and then enters the username, enters the password, hits login, and then it should checks to make sure that it did log in. For example. So in order to write this behavioral test, you need, some support from your framework, and all modern, app and web app frameworks will have, testing support. So we'll have a whole section on that. So what you need to do is, figure out, you already know what framework you're using, Android, iOS, whatever. There's going to be a whole chapter if you look at the official documentation for that. There will be a whole chapter on testing where they tell you this is how we do, this behavioral testing or whatever they call it. They're going to have some support for that, and that's what you're going to use for that. So yeah, for this class, I'm going to be checking for both unit tests and also something like behavioral test or whatever they call it in your framework, something more higher level than that. We don't really care, something like Django and stuff, they'll have some frameworks that they don't actually run the app, but they're very close to running the app, so you're testing at a high level. Whatever they use, that's what we want. So note that there's 2 parts to this deadline, right? So the first part is due just in January 30. That's the first deadline this semester. And for the first part, you just need to go back and read all that documentation, read the whole chapter on testing, and set it up so that you have at least one unit test and at least one behavioral test. And we're going to make sure that, and then, you're going to do a little video showing that you can run them. So we want to make sure that you know how to write tests and run tests in your framework, and you have written at least one. And then the goal is, once you do that by the end of January, then, the rest of the semester, as you're adding features to your code, everybody in the team is adding features, you should be writing tests for your new features. So, generally in a real company, the way it works is, when you write a pull request with your new feature, that pull request also includes your tests. So you write your code that adds a new feature, and then you write the code that does the automated tests for the new feature. So you test that it does indeed do what it says you think it's going to do. So that's what you want to shoot for, right? You want to shoot for, implementing new features and writing the tests as you go along, step by step. So what we're going to do is, at the end of the semester, so for the final release, we're going to go in again. So we're going to do we're going to grade it first on January 30, make sure that you can run a test. And then at the end of the semester, last day of classes, we're going to grade it again, make sure that you have a bunch of tests by then. So that's the testing milestone. Then the first release for this semester is the beta release, which is going to be on February 26th. And the beta release should be, your app now implements its core functionality. So like, if you're implementing an email app, it should send and receive email. And, lets you compose them. So figure out whatever the core functionality is, the main, most important thing that your app needs to do, and have that done. So you can read about that, and it's going to be basically, but the whole structure of it is going to be similar to the proof of concept, right? So I'm going to post an issue. You're going to add all your beta release issues to your GitHub, and I'm going to approve them or not, say, you need more or less. You're going to submit them, and then we're going to grade it based on that, right? Just like that, just like we did before. So, but in general, that's what we're looking for. For the beta, we're looking for your core functionality to be implemented. And then a month later, April 2nd, we have the release candidate 1 or RC1 milestone. And basically, at this point, you're done, right? So this is a feature freeze release. So what you want to submit is, you want to be done at this point. You assume you have everything done, everything's implemented, all your features are done. So, the beta was more of the core features. For the RC1 is all the other little features that support the main feature, which usually take longer. The little stuff can often take longer than the main stuff. And you're making, you want to make it look good and bug free and all that. So we're looking at this point in April 2nd, we're going to be looking for the finished app. And again, it's going to be a very similar process to the beta release. So we're going to grade it. But what we're going to do also with this one is go to the quality assurance milestone. We're going to take your app, and I'm going to give it to another team. And they're going to basically do the same thing the TAs and I have been doing it. They're going to test it. They're going to look for bugs. They're going to add those bugs to your GitHub. And so similarly, you're going to get somebody else's app tested, look for bugs, add those bugs to their GitHub repo. So you're going to be doing that, starting when April 2nd and all the way to April 16, when you should be done. And as you receive those bug reports, you should be fixing them. So the idea is, your RC1 release goes out, we give you feedback, we find all these bugs, the other team finds bugs, and you start fixing them. So this is all the last month of classes. It's going to be busy. There's a lot of little things that are due in the last month, as you might expect. And also, of course, you're testing the other teams. And also, you have to do for Thursday, April 20th, note that this is a Thursday, unlike all the other ones, a little website. This is a simple matter of, just GitHub pages, just setting up a simple, sort advertisement website, so advertising your app. And then on the last day of classes, which is Monday, April 24th, you turn in your final release. So this is just like all the other releases, except this is the last one. Hopefully you have fixed all the bugs that were submitted. And it works great, and everything works. If you want to know what an A-level project is, it's right here. So read this milestone. So in an A-level app, it's going to be professional quality, top 10. It does everything that it's supposed to do and more, and it looks good, and it doesn't break. So it's fully featured, right? Meaning, it's going to have, a lot of features, a lot of little things that it does, and doesn't crash, and it looks good. So fully featured is important, right? So, I mean, if your app just looks good, because you have like a simple, say, a to-do list, that's not good enough for an A, even if it works perfectly. Of course, it works perfectly. I mean, it's pretty simple. So just note that, and I'll be giving you feedback on this as we go on, and when you post your issues for the beta and the RC1, if this doesn't look like a fully featured app, I'll let you know, as I probably have already. So if it doesn't look like you're gonna get everything done, I have a little section here on prioritizing issues. So basically first make it work, then make it look good, right? So sometimes you gotta get something done so you can at least pass the class. So the first most important thing is that it works. So it actually runs and it does the thing, even if it looks bad. Only after you get the core functionality do you start adding all the other stuff, the little features, and then only after you get those done, then you start to make all the other aesthetic improvements. It can be tricky sometimes. An aesthetic improvement can make it so it's impossible to use the app, in which case, well, it's no longer aesthetic. It's like it's preventing me from just logging in, right? So if I can't hit the login button, I can't log in, I cannot use the app is dead on the water, for example. So you want to avoid any kind of showstopper bug like that, right? You want to have something that can be useful, eliminate all the showstopper bugs, any crashes first, so that it works. That's the top priority. And then you can read over here where we organize and prioritize the various features. So that's the final release. And then just like last semester, you're going to do another video demo showing how your app works. So the same thing. It might be probably be a little bit longer this semester, because your app should have more features that you have to demonstrate, right? So you want to go through and just demonstrate all the features in your app, see how it works, and make sure, this is things that people forget. A lot of the apps need like actual data for you to do a good demo, right? So you need to have, actual pretend users or pretend restaurants or whatever. So make sure that, you populate it. It only takes a little bit longer, but it makes your demo so much better. So I have some tips here. Make sure you read those. Some other tips here. You can read those. Here's the grading rubric. And so yeah, and these are all due on the last day of classes, and that will be it. Thank you.